This is Outside with the Moors, and we are talking about the GPS tracker device. This is the Spot X two-way communicator. And so I'm going to tell you the pros and some cons about this device. I've had it for 3 months and used it pretty frequently over the summer. We did a lot of traveling, a lot of camping, a lot of hiking, and up until now I felt like it was doing a good job. But there are definitely some cons that have made me think about looking into other devices. So I'll let you know what we think about this. I got this tracker back in June because we were going to do a lot of traveling and hiking and camping. And I wanted just to make sure that we had a way to communicate with family and friends and to let them know where our location was. I really wanted to like this one, but there are some definite cons that I'm not sure I can get over. And so I will tell you first about all the pros. There's a lot of great features to this tracker, but there's also some negatives. And so I feel like right now they're outweighing the positive. So let me go ahead and get started. I like to keep it strapped on. It comes with a Velcro on the back, so I like to keep it strapped onto my pack here. I want it to be accessible in case of an emergency. It might work better in the back to get a GPS signal, but I prefer to have it easy to reach, and so I like to have it strapped here. It came with a carabiner, but that was kind of cumbersome and it kept flopping around. But with the Velcro, it lays flush against my pack and I don't even notice it. But when it's on the carabiner, it jostles around quite a bit. But the Velcro is pretty sturdy and it doesn't move much. So I prefer to do it that way. The main reason that I gravitated toward this tracker is because it stands alone. And so it has its own keyboard. It doesn't need to be paired with a phone or anything like that. An issue I had with the InReach, the Garmin InReach, is that it does need to be paired with your phone to use all the features on it. And oftentimes my phone is dead. So I really needed something that can stand alone. I can message and things like that. And so I was really hopeful about this tracker. So as you can see, it has a little dashboard here, and then you have to toggle between the different settings here. You can see here. Right now, I am tracking right here, so you can see the little 2 steps. I've only had this tracker for 3 months, and this button doesn't work. I don't know what happened. I'm gonna have to see about getting it replaced or possibly just returning it. So right now I am tracking. I had to set that up with my phone with the app, and so it is tracking in 10-minute intervals. So it is saying where I am. There's also unlimited check-ins, which I really like that feature. Let me go to that one. So here are unlimited check-ins. So I'm going to send that right now. And here it shows it's going to be sent as soon as I get a signal. And so right now I'm in a pretty shaded area. There's lots of trees and it's not working because there's too many trees and overhead coverage. It does need a clear view of the sky. And sometimes that prohibits it from being sent out in a timely manner. And so sometimes it will take 10 to 15 minutes for a message to go out, depending on where I'm at, or if I'm moving or under too much coverage. So in a few minutes I'm going to move out so you can see where it will say GPS connection up there, but right now it's not connected. The other thing that I really liked about it is that it does have predefined messages, and those are unlimited too. So I really like the plan that I'm on. I have just the basic plan, but it does cover a lot and it gives you a lot of benefits from it. But I also need it to connect, and so that was the issue. It's not connecting very well, and there's a big lag time from when I'm getting messages and when I'm able to send messages. So that's something that is really a downer for me on here. I don't have another one to compare it to, but I have heard and read reviews on the InReach Garmin, and so I think I might look into that instead of this one. Another feature that I like is that you can create waypoints. So here we are. You can create different waypoints. And so I do have a few set already. You can create the waypoints at the site that you're at. on your location, or you can create waypoints at home using the website. So the website, it's been hit or miss for me. I had to contact customer support and let them know that their map wasn't working, and they told me I could do it manually, but then you have to find the coordinates of where you want to go, and it's kind of difficult to do. They did fix the problem, but it took them about a week to remedy that, and that seems like a very basic function for a GPS tracker, to be able to make waypoints, to be able to map out your route and things like that. There's an app that goes with it, but it doesn't do much other than what this does. So this is standalone. I don't see the point of the app. There's another app on your computer, and all that does is sync it. So you have to sync your information on here through another app. So it's kind of cumbersome to do. It's not very user friendly. This part is. So this part, it does what it says it does. So let me go back to the main screen. You have to go push back. Okay, there's messages, there's create a message, contacts, check-in, your tracking intervals, so you can set how far you want to track it. You can fetch messages. I have mine set to fetch every 30 minutes to save battery. You can make it longer, so you can change the fetching, or fetch right now if you want messages. You find a good spot or stopping point. The navigation is here, and then system settings. Okay, so the navigation, I really like the navigation, but it's very basic, and so it just has the bearings of where you need to go, and nothing else. There's no maps, there's nothing besides just the destination, your final destination of where you're going. I have a couple of waypoints. I think you can add up to 250 waypoints at one time, so I do have it here. I have quite a few waypoints on there. Overall, I'm not very impressed with it. It is the lower price range, so I got this on sale this summer for $200. It's usually $250, and so I got it for $200. It was on sale. And the monthly subscription, that's not much. The basic is about $12, and so that's a really great price point for that, and the year annual fee isn't much. If you want to do a flexible, I think it's $15 a month. If it doesn't work when I'm in the field, it doesn't matter how many perks there are. I need it to know, I need this device to show where I'm at and where in a timely manner. And so especially if I'm solo hiking, I need people to know where I am. So 2 weeks ago we went out hiking, and I sent out the check-in, and everybody said that it was down. And so I didn't know until after we got back that nobody was getting our messages. It showed blank. So if that had been an emergency situation, no one would have gotten my messages, no one would have known our location and things like that. So that was kind of frightening to know, if I'm relying on this for emergency situations, it might not go through, and I won't even know that it hasn't gone through. And so that was worrisome about this. So I think I might look into other ones. I'm still torn because it does have some good features. I love that it stands alone. I love that it has this keyboard, and I can quickly make waypoints. I can quickly send check-ins. But again, I've only had it for 3 months, and this tracker button is broken. I can't turn it off. I can't turn it on. I've tried multiple things. I don't know why it would be broken. I can turn it on from my phone, but not from here. And that's the whole point. I need to be able to do everything and have it self-sufficient. So this is the GPS tracker. I'm gonna go out in an open area so you can see what it looks like from there. So I did want to show you the area that I'm hiking in. As you can see, it's pretty shaded. There's a lot of tree coverage right now. So that's why I'm not picking up the GPS signal. I'm gonna try to go out a little bit further to see how far it goes. The other thing that I was gonna mention is that it is really easy to hold. It fits well in your palm. And so I do like that strap, the Velcro strap. It makes it easy to hold when you're navigating. I've been hiking for about 15 minutes, and it has not picked up a GPS signal. And so here I am. It is a little bit open sky here, but there's a lot of shade and brush area. So I saw it briefly pop on, but as you can see, there's too many trees in this area. But I'm never going to be hiking in the straight sun, so I do need something that can work through a little bit of coverage, a little bit of tree coverage, because mostly I'm going to be hiking in the shade. So I need something that can pick up when I am out in the open, quickly pick up and lock onto that signal. I have been hiking for about 25 minutes and it still hasn't connected to the GPS. And so right now I'm kind of in an open area. I'm in the sun and I prefer to be in the shade, but it's still not connecting. And you can see I have 2 messages that are trying to go through and 1 check-in that have not been sent. As you can see, I'm in a very open area and it's still not showing that it's picking up on the GPS. I don't know how much more of an open area it wants me to find. I'm here by the lake. There's not trees around me, so I'm not sure why the GPS is not picking up. And you can see it must have connected. It sent 1 message out, but there's still that 1 pending. So I still have a pending message. It is a hot day, so I'm going to turn back and head back in. So here is the navigation. I put the navigation to the trailhead, and so I'm going to try to find my way back using this. You can see it's pointing me in the correct direction here. Usually it does say destination, distance to destination. That's one feature I do like. I just finally picked up a GPS signal. And actually it's in a pretty shaded place where I'm at. I don't know why it decided to pick up here, but I'm glad it finally did. And so here it shows I'm really close to the trailhead. I'm really close to the trailhead where I'm trying to head back to. It tells you how many feet, the bearings, and the headings. And so it tells me the direction I need to go. And then I do like that it can show you the compass too. So there's the compass if you prefer it that way, but I like it to show my bearings. So there it is. Oh, and there it dropped the GPS. There we go. Gotta tilt it at an angle. It picked up the GPS, but it still hasn't sent out those messages. I'm still waiting for it to send out that message. The Spot X does have a very good battery life. I've been actively tracking for at least over an hour and it just now went down 1 bar. I have used it this summer. We used it for several days on end. I wasn't tracking intervals as frequently, but I was sending out messages and check-ins quite frequently, and I didn't need to charge it for like 3 or 4 days. So it does have a good battery life. It did finally pick up the GPS, but not at the beginning of my hike. And now I'm at the end and I don't really need the GPS out here. I'm almost to the car. So it would have been helpful if I had that GPS connection while I was out hiking, and it still hasn't sent that 1 message. It does seem that the GPS started working when I turned on the wayfinding. So I don't know if the waypoints made a difference, but that's when it started working, when I turned on the waypoints. My overall opinion of this is it's a good device for the price point. And so it is on the lower end for GPS devices, but still $200 for a device that doesn't fully meet all your expectations is a lot to spend. And then you also have the monthly subscription or the flex plan. And so I'm not sure how I feel about this device, but so I have used it for 3 months, pretty much solid. I've taken it out every month at least once or twice. During the summer we were traveling a lot, and so I did use it quite frequently. We drove from Texas to Wisconsin and we were able to check in with family. We felt pretty good about it then, but we weren't doing a lot of hiking. It was more camping in pretty static locations. And so well, we were hiking but not backcountry or anything like that. And so I don't know, if you're on an established trail, you don't think you're going to encounter too many problems, this would be a good device. This one was great for traveling. We messaged at every point. Usually the messages would go out 10 to 15 minutes after we sent it, so there is a lag time. But our family was able to connect with us and know where we were camping. The main reason why we got this device was because when we went out to Arkansas this summer and Tennessee, so we went on a trip from Texas to Arkansas to Tennessee to Mississippi, we discovered we did not have cell service hardly anywhere. And so that made us really nervous. We had told our family our plans, but we were without communication for sometimes days on end. And so that really made me nervous. Some of the campsites were kind of desolate, and we had no way of contacting anyone or getting messages out. At one point, we drove out 30 minutes to get reception, and we had just had one bar just to let our family know, because we hadn't been able to contact them for a while. And so that really made us nervous, that what if there had been an accident? What if somebody had an allergic reaction out or got bit by a snake or something? We had no way of contacting or getting emergency help. And so after that trip, we decided we really needed a GPS device, because cell service is not reliable when you're out hiking and backpacking and camping. And so we needed some way to connect and contact our family, that they could message us and we could message them. And so this was an easy decision to make and invest in. So some pros: it's a standalone device. It's a two-way communicator, so I can send messages out, people can send messages back to me, and I can do it all from this device. I don't have to pair it with a phone or anything like that. So I do like and appreciate that functionality of it. I also like that I can create a waypoint directly from here, from my location. It is a little difficult to do it from the computer. I've had some issues with it and had to call customer support for that. But I was able to create waypoints, but I just discovered that they're not very accurate. And so when you're lost in the woods, you need that accuracy to find your way back. And so it's easier to create waypoints from your location at that point in time, and those are very accurate. But I found when I'm creating the waypoint from my computer, it's hard to zone in exactly where I need it to be, so it's just kind of a general direction of where I'm heading, but not exactly where I need to be. The other positive about this is the price point. And so it is on the lower end for GPS devices. It was $200 for the device, and then I opted for the annual subscription, and it's monthly $11.99, I believe. And then I think I paid $3 extra to get the mapping portion. The mapping portion is not intuitive, so it is a learning curve, and I still am kind of shady on the ins and outs of that. And also, it doesn't link directly to the device. So the device does create assets for when I send out messages, but not my waypoints. So it didn't connect any of the waypoints I created on location, but it did show when I send in check-ins or tracking. So that it does show up on the maps. But again, it's not very user-friendly, and it's difficult to figure out how to share with people. It doesn't link your contacts easily, and so that hasn't been pleasant to use. The check-in is really easy to do. I use that the most frequently. You can set 10 people as your check-in, and so I have some friends and family that are just a standard check-in. I only have to push one button to get that check-in to go out, and so I do like that. I wish I could do a little bit more on the device. A lot of it you have to do on the computer and then sync it, and so if you don't sync it beforehand, it's kind of difficult to do, and you can't make changes to your check-in people. There's also the predefined messages, and those are unlimited. So I do like that you have unlimited check-ins, unlimited predefined messages. You can have 14 messages at a time, and so you can create any kind of message that you want. So I have the weather's turning bad, we're seeking shelter, I have we're running late but everything's okay. I have messages that say I'm just checking in, I'll let you know when we get somewhere else, or we're turning in for the night. So I appreciate those messages, that there's 14 different options that I can set. And then there's free to send unlimited to my contacts. Contacts are kind of difficult to input, but you can sync them, and you can also put contacts on here, so that's handy to have. And then you could fetch messages directly. You can ask it to have an interval of when you check in. I think mine is set for every 30 minutes. It checks to see if I have a message when it's active, and when it's not active I put it for every 24 hours. And then but you can ask it to fetch messages here. If you find a good spot or a stopping point and you want to check your messages, you can have it manual check your messages. The navigation, I wish it had a little map on it, even a rudimentary map, or like a map for where you've been. That would have been helpful. I know the Garmin has that on the device, so that would have been helpful to have. But overall, it wasn't until I started comparing devices that I realized how much this one is lacking. And so once I started realizing what the Garmin, even the lower end of the Garmin, the InReach 2 Mini, then I realized how much more this could be doing, and it's not. And so I think I'm going to look into other devices to see if it's just my locations where I'm hiking, or if it's actually the device. And so we live in Texas. We're never going to be hiking in the straight sun, walking where it's open. It's always, if we have an option, we're going to hike in the shade. There's going to be tree coverage overhead, and that's just the reality of where I live and where I hike. But if you're in the open area, maybe in the mountains, this might be a good device for you. Oh, there is one other really great feature. With the basic plan, it does come with vehicle assistance. And so if you do encounter any problems, you can contact that, and it's already programmed in here. It's your first contact. It's called Nation Safe Driver. And so you could contact them if you have trouble with your vehicle. So that aspect is really great, especially we go camping and hiking in a lot of places where we have no cell service. So that would be good if we had an issue with our vehicle. The other thing I wanted to mention is the SOS button. So it's underneath this little flap here, so that you can't accidentally push it. And if you do push it, it does give you, I think it asks you if you actually wanted to, so you would have to do it twice. Yes, I did. So it is underneath this little flap here, so it closes and opens pretty easily. Pops open there. So the SOS is right there in the front. This GPS does pair with Bluetooth on your phone, and it has an app on the phone, but the app really does the exact same thing that these do with less functionality. And so the only benefit I can see of the app is that maybe you can text message easier if you have your phone keyboard, but really this stands alone, so you wouldn't ever need the app. I don't know why you would need the app, unless maybe it's a 30-foot range, so maybe you put the GPS out in the sun in an open area and you don't want to stand there, so you can move in within 30 feet and use the device, or use the app connected to the device. So maybe that's the benefit. You get an extra range of motion. So if you set it out in an open area and you don't want to stand there in the sun connected to the GPS, and you want to move to a shaded area, it can still connect. So that's the only benefit I see of the app. I wish the app had maps on it. I'm paying for the map subscription, but I can only access that from my computer on the web. So it kind of defeats the purpose when I'm out and about. It's cool to look at later to see where we've been and see how it tracked, but I would really appreciate if we had it while we were out in the field, out hiking, and we could see where we are and where we're tracking and trails and things like that. So I feel like the map part could be better, and the app definitely could be better. As far as customer service goes, I wasn't too happy with what happened. So the waypoints on the computer were down and it didn't show the map at all. And so when I called to say I want to create these waypoints because I have this trip coming up, they told me, oh, it's down. They didn't know why. And they said, but you can do it manually on the device. And so I said, but how am I going to know the elevation and the latitude and longitude and all of that? And they just told me, go look it up on Google Maps, and it'll tell you the longitude and latitude. And I can do that, but what's the point of having the app or being able to do it on the computer? I should be able to do it easily. And so I did ask them to make a ticket because they kind of dismissed what I was asking. And that's very basic for a GPS device, is that it should be able to create waypoints, it should have the navigation, and it should be easy to use. And so I shouldn't have to go hunt down the coordinates of where I'm trying to go if the device says, if it's supposed to be part of my subscription. And so if I'm paying the $11 a month, or if I'm paying for the subscription, then I want it to do what it says it's gonna do. And so yes, I can go find the coordinates, but that's gonna take more time. I have to leave the web page and go search for that, and then come back and input all that information or do it from my device. And it's just very cumbersome and not user friendly. And so they did put in a ticket, and it took maybe like a week for them to actually resolve the maps on their website. And so that's a really long time, considering that's the main function of this, is to track locations. And so another incident, which I haven't reported yet, is that I sent out our GPS check-in and messages about a week ago, and everything was down. And so when my family got the messages, it just said, sorry, we're updating, and no information was given. They didn't know well, we had told them where we were, but they didn't know our coordinates or anything like that they're used to getting. And so it was down for a few days, maybe a week or so, and I just recently looked at it, and it finally updated that information. But if we were out on the trail and we had an emergency, our family wouldn't know where to even send help or where to find us if we hadn't told them previously. So those two technical issues are really major. And I don't know why this button has stopped working. I keep trying to push it. It's not doing anything. So I've only had it for 3 months. I don't put a lot of wear and tear on it. I keep it on the outside of my pack mostly. So I don't know why that button would have stopped working, and I don't think it's been mashed down or anything. I don't know what happened with that button. So for 3 months and the price point that we bought it at, it should have lasted longer. So that's another con to this, but maybe it's just a fluke. I'm gonna contact customer service later on today about this, because I just discovered that it's not working. Hi, earlier I mentioned that this button was not working, and I called customer service to find out what was going on and if it was maybe user error, and it was. So I found out that you have to hold it down for 3 seconds for it to come off and on. So let's see, can't get it to do it. It's a really hard button to push, but right now it's tracking. You can see it's tracking steps now. And if I can get it to turn off. Oh, there, it went off. Okay, so you have to hold it down, they said, for 3 seconds, and it'll come off. Also, I checked the maps and the tracking when I went home, and it had only done 3 check-ins, even though I had it on 10-minute intervals. And so I was out for about 2.5 hours, and it was supposed to be tracking every 10 minutes on my way, and it only recorded 3, maybe 4 data points. So that's a disappointment that I was gone for that long. It shouldn't have had that few. I don't know how I feel about this device. I really want to like it more than I do. I'll probably keep it so we have 2 devices, one for me and one for my husband, so we can communicate with each other. But I definitely am going to explore other options. Don't forget to like and subscribe our channel. We are Outside with the Moors. And again, this is the GPS Spot X device, 2-way communicator.